Hey, Mark here. I just have a fun announcement for you. So, we recently started doing these Final Fight episodes, and we've been putting them up with the movies, the regular movie, films, and flicks episodes. However, the Final Fight episodes people really loved. So, we figured that we would start a brand new podcast just called Final Fights, brought to you by Movies, Films, and Flicks, where it's nothing but final fights in movies, where we discuss every punch, bite, head kick, gut punch, everything you can think about. We do a lot of research, and they're short episodes. They're probably about 20 to 30 minutes. They're really quick to listen to, and they just talk about all your favorite final fights. So head to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, and rate, review, and subscribe, and listen to Final Fights. I think you'll really enjoy it. Thank you. Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently lounging in a frozen lake. It's Isaac Thorne.
Hey, Mark.
So how's it feeling there? How cold is the water? And are you resting the computer on top of the ice and just lounging?
I'm not from Norway, so I'm not accustomed to the cold. In fact, I hate the cold. So right now the laptop is in my lap as I'm on a chair in a heated room far above the water.
Nowhere near that frozen pond, huh?
No way.
The frozen death pond.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was researching that, and I found a website called the Outdoor Swimming Society, and it says how to acclimatize to cold water, and apparently you can do that. So you just get in there more often, you train your body so then you don't get that shock, you don't get the cold shock. So you do as few as like 5 or 6 3-minute immersions, and then you keep doing that. And when your body gets used to it, it stays with you for a while. Like 14 months later, you still react better to the water than people who haven't.
Wow.
And it's pretty interesting where when you do that, it keeps, like, your blood doesn't, like, flow to the outside of your hands and legs and all that. It comes, like, it stays kind of in your core. So it keeps your heart and kind of inside more warm since the blood's pumping there. The downfall is it takes you longer for your hands and legs to get warm because your blood doesn't flood there. But people who aren't used to it, that's where all the blood goes. That's why they have a lot of problems with the respiratory and heart and all those issues.
I guess that makes sense. I can't imagine a reason I would ever want to do that.
No.
But, I guess if I was going to have to, if someone was going to push me into a frozen river, I think I would want, at least a couple months advance notice so I could acclimatize myself.
I'll meet you in 2 months. I knew that frozen lake was going to come into play in this movie,
yes.
Winter People. When he said the thing about the swimming, I'm like, Chekhov's frozen pond, right? Wasn't that Chekhov's gun? Isn't that what they said?
Chekhov's gun, yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right. And that's one of the things I actually love about Winter People is very nearly everything. And I actually looked for things that were not used when I rewatched it yesterday for the first time in its intended aspect ratio. I actually looked for things that were not reused. And at first I thought Scarlet, that pig. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the pig being anywhere else in the movie. And then they bring that around later on as well. So I couldn't find anything that wasn't a Chekhov's gun.
I mean, so this movie, and I'm really happy, and I guess I should get some plugs in really quick. So we've been going back and forth on Twitter and Facebook for what feels like years now, correct?
Yeah, it's been a while.
And so, do you want to do? I'm terrible at plugs. So as you know, if you're listening, Isaac is and congrats on being nominated for the shortlist on that recent list, correct, for your work? I saw that on your Facebook.
The Indie Reader Award. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a horror author, primarily short stories. I've written one novel titled The Gordon Place. And that's basically what I do. I write. So.
Well, that sounds like a great life.
Well, it's not primarily fiction. I do have a day job that is technical writing, but it's still writing, so it counts.
That's one thing I need to get better at. I did technical writing for a while, and it drove me insane because I'm so used to my weird data, and the way my brain works is like a pinball machine. So to keep it very, like, to write that specific, really kind of, I need to get better at it. But that was tough to get used to.
I was actually reminded of my day job when we get to the investigation piece in this movie, because those folks on both sides of that river were very technical and detailed in their analysis.
If I ever need some PIs to work a case, I'm hiring the Campbells.
Absolutely.
And so before we jump into this movie too much, I just have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How long will it take for that massive bear alarm clock built in the center of the town to break down?
That's a good question. It looked like a sturdy built tower. I don't know about the bear himself.
There's so many working parts. When I see so many working parts, so basically Kurt Russell gets stuck in a small town. He stays with a lady. Then he says he'll build this family a massive clock that chimes every hour, and they'll give him a truck because his truck was marauded by the dastardly Campbells in a lake. Wait, I bounce all over the place. I don't care. Why was he trying to cross that river? That thing was uncrossable, wasn't it?
It looked uncrossable, but here's the thing. This is 1934 mountains of North Carolina. Back then, and even still to this day, there are rural roads in the South, at least, that you will occasionally, especially in a wet season, find yourself driving through a stream or even a river. So I can believe him being a city fella.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Not being able to judge the depth there and failing the turn around, don't drown.
When they were talking about the Campbells, all I could think, do you want to sum up this movie real quick before I'm sure people listening have watched this movie, but can you give me a quick synopsis for this movie? That makes sense.
Absolutely.
What do you think it is?
Absolutely. All right. It's a 1989 film directed by Ted, and I'm gonna mess up his last name. It's Ted Kochev.
Wake and Fright Kochev.
Yes, and he also the director of First Blood.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Is another story.
Weekend at Bernie's.
And
too.
Weekend at Bernie's, yeah. And the story is about a widower and his young daughter who are moving, I guess, across country. I can't remember where they started, but I believe they're moving to California, and somehow not somehow, he tries to drive through a river, and they get stranded in the mountains of North Carolina. They come upon a small cabin in which Kelly McGillis's character, Collie, lives by herself with her infant son who has no father, at least that we know about in the beginning. You know, there's some mystery and some secrets there in 1934 sinful mountain life. They stop to rest and warm up, are going to leave the next day, and come to find his car being stripped apart.
Take the engine. That's what someone says that too.
Take the engine.
How are they going to take the engine?
That's a good question. You'd think you'd need a screwdriver or something.
Just grab it. It's like they're talking like it's a bag of chips.
But I believe they turned the thing over too. I mean, I guess it's it's a lightweight car, I guess, compared to modern machinery. But so they end up further stranded, and as Kurt Russell's character Waylon begins to fall for Collie and she for him, he becomes entangled in these family dramas, all while trying to earn. He's a clockmaker, and he tries to earn a truck by building the small village that the Wrights pretty much run a tower clock.
That's great. You did a good job. I would have been all over the place.
Thank you very much.
And so I had such a good time watching this movie, and it led me down some interesting rabbit holes. So the author was John Ely, and this was the seventh novel in his. He wrote this whole series about life in North Carolina, and this was the seventh in that. which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I knew this was based on his novel, but I had no idea he'd written an entire series.
And so it's the number 5th in his Landbreaker series. And then I learned that he married Rosemary Harris, who I guess most people, she was big on stage, but she was also in the Spider-Man movies as Aunt May.
Oh yeah.
And then they had a daughter, Jennifer Ely, who has a bunch of Tonys and was in some big movies, and she was originally in Game of Thrones as Catelyn Stark. She was in the pilot, but then they had to reshoot it, and she just had a child, and she's like, I'm done with this. So she left, and they recast Michelle Farley to be Catelyn Stark. So,
wow.
Yeah, I kind of had and then the lady who wrote the screenplay wrote Fried Green Tomatoes and Annie.
That does not surprise me. The Fried Green Tomatoes connection in particular, I didn't know that. So you have gone down a few rabbit holes that I didn't. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in terms of the tone of this movie and Fried Green Tomatoes.
I mean, it's super earnest, this film.
Yes.
It's just dripping with earnestness, and there's some interest, like we were talking before we started the podcast. This is another we here at Movies, Films, and Flicks love Kurt Russell, and this is a very different Kurt Russell role. I would say the closest one's maybe, what do you think, Breakdown, where he's just a guy driving across country who's dealing with these kind of, I don't know, criminal, I don't know, like cowboys, I guess is the best word for it. And yeah, and then he's just a nice dude.
Yeah, he is. And he's kind of, he's not really meek. I mean, he will speak up for himself, but he's not fearful, but he's also not willing to take unnecessary risks, which is a different Kurt Russell than we typically see in his, more action movies.
He does not hang glide into New York in this.
No, absolutely not.
However, he does jump on top of a bear and shoot it right in the head.
He does. And that is his, prove himself to the mountain folks, or to Gunder, or Gudger. Gudger, in particular. That is his prove himself moment, and Gudger doesn't even really want to let him have that.
That was lame. He wanted to take full credit for it, Gudger. One of Kelly McGillis' brothers. What a lame. Yeah. I did it. Like, no, Kurt Russell jumped on a bear's back. I felt bad for that bear, but it was 1 a year kill. They probably used everything.
Right.
That's when you actually use everything from a hunt. This isn't shooting what like the bison in the prairies for their tongues or rhinos for their horns. So at least I'm sure everything from this bear was used.
Yeah, exactly. And they have some casualties of their own in the process. They lose a dog.
That was sad.
Young. Yeah, it was. And Young gets hurt. Young is pretty much, aside from Collie, Young is another one of Collie's brothers, and is pretty much Waylon's only friend for a good portion of the movie until after the bear hunt.
Because he's kind of a city folk, isn't he?
Yes.
Young kind of travels around the world, and he knows about clocks in England.
In Europe.
Yeah, in Europe, that's the word they use. In Europe. Yeah. Like, where in Europe? Does he ever say where in Europe, or does he just...
He just says Europe. He never says specifically where. So you get the impression he's been around, though. And not only that, he's been away. He's away at the beginning of the movie, because Wayland is already a presence in the town when Young shows up out of nowhere and makes his grand excitable entrance.
They were very excitable in the beginning, were they not? When they're going hunting,
yes.
When they meet it, they're running. That's exhausting. I would not want to hang out with them, would you?
No, absolutely not. There's a lot of running. There's a lot of whooping. There's some rolling down a hill.
If you did a drinking game with all the whoops in this movie, you'd be pretty schnockered like these guys.
Yes, within 2 minutes.
Yeah. As soon as Young shows up, it's all over.
Yes.
And then so I almost had my Kurt Russell card taken away because I didn't even know that this movie existed. So what kind of led you to pitch it to me? Or, you brought it up, and I'm like, well, let's talk about it. It just sort of happened on Twitter one day. But what kind of led you to pitch this movie? How has this stuck with you?
This movie, it came out in '89, which was the same year that I graduated high school. I had a really, really tough time emotionally transitioning from high school into the broader world, even though my broader world at first was just, going to college, which is an easier transition for folks who
Yeah.
skip college and go straight to work.
So you're telling me you didn't become a clockmaker who travels across the country and gets stuck in a North Carolina town?
Exactly.
Got it.
But I saw this movie on cable one afternoon after classes. It was like a, HBO or Showtime thing or something. And I saw it for the first time, and I saw that bear hunt scene where Waylon is trying to prove himself to these mountain folks and get in good with them. Everybody who's staying home is telling him he's making a terrible mistake and taking a stupid risk, and he's not a risk taker, and they know that. And I don't know, I kind of identified with that moment. Just, the transition between high school and college, I kind of felt like I was going on the bear hunt.
Oh, that's neat.
So, yeah. And I don't know, something about it, about that scene in particular charmed me, and the movie stuck with me. So whenever I had a chance to watch it when it was on cable, I would, and eventually I recorded it, and carried it with me.
Yep.
On tape.
You have that VHS tape, and then you record it from the TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So up until yesterday, I had only ever seen it in 4:3 ratio in the pan and scan.
Oof, pan and scan.
Yeah. So it was interesting to kind of see it anew and sort of rekindle my love for it.
I think it is interesting though, the conversation of. It does kind of offer up some interesting things, like what is a man? Like they're like, you're not a man. You're not a man unless you throw a rock. He's like, wait, what? Not, I'm just saying in general. Like there's different. Like it's kind of interesting how, I guess, I mean, this is almost 90 years ago, a little less than that, but the kind of definition of what is a man? Like, but then that differs in the city, in the country. So it's kind of a neat, I don't know, a juxtaposition between different people, I guess. And he was more, he's more of like a sensitive dude. Remember when they're out in the woods and he's like, I miss my daughter and Kelly McGillis. Like, I just want to,
right.
But he's not being meek about it. He's telling these guys, I don't like this. I got fleas on me. I'd rather go hang out with Colleen and my daughter.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I love about this character is he's completely honest about who he thinks he is. And even when Gudger originally asks him about the bear hunt, and Kurt Russell's reply is, and if I run, which I might do, what does that make me? And he's completely honest about, he's not sure whether he wants to go on this bear hunt or not. And he doesn't really feel like, or doesn't seem to think he feels like he has anything to prove.
Yeah. It's interesting. We don't see many characters like this. You probably have one that's further over on the other side, and then you have one that's kind of on, but the author of this book I read, so the critics bash this film. I was going through reading reviews, and they are just mean to it. Ebert hated this movie. He's like, how? He's like he said that McGillis and Russell had no, what's the word? Chemistry. And there are these other people who are saying that like they made Kurt Russell seem like a wimp. That was the biggest accomplishment. And someone's like, her accent is so irritating, most men would be working on getting that car fixed fast to get out of there. Like, there's some pretty good burns on this movie.
Yes.
But I think but we don't see things like this anymore. This is just such an unabashed, earnest romance, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then, I agree with that completely.
I guess the author, I was reading about his books, and I was reading reviews on Goodreads and other places. And the author has a thing where he doesn't like people being really good or bad. He wants them to be mixed somewhere in that line. But if you think about the different characters in this film, I mean, the main heavy, and the guy is absolutely terrible, who is Cole Campbell, who beats the living daylights out of Kurt Russell. I mean, he tossed him everywhere. But his dad, I guess, was so strict on him, he could never tell him. He was too afraid So then that manifested in like alcoholism and abuse because,
Right.
I mean, he was never a good dude. When the story that she first tells about meeting him at that rock when he was all over her, so I mean, he's never been, but there's a dimension to him that's interesting. And then with Kurt Russell, I guess he's always telling people to call him Waylon Jackson. He never just Wayland, which is interesting.
Right.
But
they keep calling him Mr. Wayland.
Yeah.
And Jack.
Waylon Jackson. Not either of those. He lets Cole die. He sends Cole away.
Yes.
And he's like, I didn't know. And people are like, come on, man. Like, you knew, right?
Well, and they're kind of hoping that he won't die, that he'll, find his way back. And then he gets, of course, he gets his foot stuck in the stirrup. He falls off his horse and gets his foot stuck in the stirrup and is trapped in the stream where Gudger finds him. So in the end, Waylon and Kali in the beginning aren't sure, if they are assumed they are responsible for his death, but they kind of are and they kind of aren't. And I like what you said about the characters not being really good or bad. And I think that is another reason that they were easy for me anyway to relate to. I mean, everyone I've ever known they're not 100% hero and they're not 100% villain. Everyone is conflicted and everyone has those little parts of good and bad in them. And I think they played that really well.
And it was interesting, the introduction to Kelly McGillis' character. She's talking about kicking dogs with boots.
Yeah.
But I kind of like her character too, because she's very, everyone kind of wants to help her. She's like, I'm fine. And I think that annoys her brothers and father and mother, that I got it. Like, she's very headstrong, I would say. Right. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic with her. So she wasn't exactly what's the word? Like, you know how movies sometimes, she wasn't powerless. This character, she made the choices to go out there, right? And she had no problem taking in Waylon Jackson. I got to say his full name. From the pig.
Right.
But that's an interesting arc of her character as well. And the accent didn't bother me, man. I read a lot of things where people hated on the accent, but whatever. Who cares?
And I'm from Tennessee. To me, I mean that accent was something I had heard my whole life from various people. I mean, I grew up here.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and even the stuff that sounded forced, like there's I don't know what Lenny Flaherty's natural accent is. I can't remember other movies I've seen him in, but the guy that plays Gudger. There's one part where he's in the store and Kali comes in and he's asking about the man if she has a man up there and he says was it yesterday? Yesterday? And that's how a lot of people in Tennessee pronounce yesterday is yesterday.
Whoa. So, my stepmom grew up in Tennessee and she says yesterday.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
There's no R.
Right.
So that's a Tennessee thing.
It's a Southern thing anyway.
Thing, yeah, got it.
It's a Tennessee accent is different than a Georgia accent, different than an Alabama accent. So I think Texas and Tennessee both say yesterday that way.
Got it.
So yeah, you'll primarily hear it here.
Are you anywhere near Memphis?
I am not. Memphis is to the southwest of me, about 2 hours, I think.
One of my favorite bands is Lucero, and so I've been watching them for years. I'm going to go see them in a few weeks. So they're a Tennessee band. If you want to listen to a good band, they're like alt country, whiskey, motorcycles, fist fights, loneliness. If you want to listen to some good music, type in go to Spotify or whatever you listen to music and listen to Lucero. They're legit. But then,
awesome.
But then this movie too, it had a massive cast for 1989. I mean, Kurt Russell he had already done The Thing, Escape from New York. Mm-hmm. He had been in Silkwood. He had been in some pretty large films. And then add in Lloyd Bridges?
Which is amazing. Kelly McGillis.
Yeah, and then you have Mitchell Ryan, who's Halloween. Mm-hmm. Let's see, he's in the Halloween producer's cut as the main heavy.
Right.
I guess so. Like he was I guess he hadn't done that yet. But no, it was pretty neat to see. So like the director was still making pretty big movies at the time. The writer was hot. You couldn't be any hotter from where that writer was. So this movie, but then it only did about 2.5 million at the box office. So
yeah, and that was global, I think.
Oh, geez Louise. I mean, 89, right? That's the year of Batman. That's the year of... So this movie must have felt just painfully old-timey at the time. But do you think that really cost it? Because this movie, it feels like it could have been in black and white, right? This could have been John Wayne would have taken this role. This could have been a Gary Cooper role. And
I think it was, I think Field of Dreams, this came out in the spring of 89, and I think Field of Dreams and movies like that had come out right around the same time. So it was just before the summer blockbusters hits, and that was, Batman and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and all those things. So I think it just fell in the, and plus, like you said, the critics hated it. So it had both bad timing and critic opinions going against it there. I guess it was just a time people didn't want to sit down and watch, a Kurt Russell be a sensitive guy, And
that's what I like about his characters, though. If you think about Big Trouble in Little China, he was the sidekick.
Yeah.
And then they didn't want him for Escape from New York, where he was a badass.
Right.
So he always does the opposite sometimes. Right? Like it's a very interesting, and then in The Thing, no one expected that movie to be like it was. Such a bleak, gnarly picture.
Right.
Man, Kurt Russell's a daredevil. I like it.
He is. Yeah, and whether the character wanted to take risks or not as an actor, he obviously does,
Yeah.
And this movie didn't hurt any careers as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Do you think there's some movies that go so under the radar that it tanks, but no one really knows about it? So then
That's possible.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Sometimes movies come through and just don't, like Charlize Theron did a movie called Dark Places with A24, and the movie just terrible reviews, but no one really saw it or cared. And then she went on to go get nominated for more Oscars. So I think this might be one of those type of films.
It could be that it just not enough people saw it to form any, to have any guilt by association feelings about any of the people involved.
Yeah, they said they're going to be laughing about it in years from now. That's kind of crazy. Right. This movie isn't that bad. It's just nice.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. And it's not for a romance set in a 1930s mountain village that's full of character. Yeah. Both character development and character interaction. It's not a slow-paced film.
No, not at all.
You would expect this to be a movie where you're checking the time every so often, and that has never happened for me. There's never been a time that I've sat down to watch this movie and checked to see how much was left. Oh
wow, that's a really interesting point. I didn't really think about it like that. It is. I don't think I ever looked at the clock once. This plows by. And I guess so this was the first movie released by Castle Rock.
Yes.
But I think it's pretty interesting if you look at their movies that they made. They did When Harry Met Sally, City Slickers, Honeymoon in Vegas. They went in The Line of Fire and Evil Things. But then they did like Little Big League, Before Sunrise, Shawshank Redemption, Forget Paris, The American President. They did a bunch of movies that are... I don't know, I'm looking through here. There's a few more. They've done a bunch of kind of Mickey Blue Eyes, a lot of romantic films. Miss Congeniality, The Majestic. I mean, this movie didn't do well, but it kind of set off what they were looking to do. They made a lot of romance, a lot of horror movies too, but still, whatever. They go hand in hand. But it's kind of, I guess it's not the best kickoff for their company. But then they had Harry Met Sally 3 months later, and then they forgot all about Winter People. Oh, I mean, look at those combination, man. Winter People and Harry Met Sally. Those are two totally different pictures.
They are, and that's another reason to think this movie kind of flew under the radar, because to be a first movie released by a new production company, you would think it would have hurt that production company. Mm-hmm. And it obviously didn't. They went on to produce some really well received films, and this movie, the only trivia item on IMDb about this movie is that it was Castle Rock's first release.
There's nothing. So that's tough, man. You've listened to the podcast. I like to do a lot of research and kind of dive into stuff. And when I realized there was nothing, I started researching the author and Goodreads. Mm-hmm. And I looked up, they filmed close to Asheville. So I looked up all the filming locations. They're still doing, in 2016, they were doing a screening with some of the cast and crew to talk about the picture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We should have gone to that, man. We get in a time machine, go 4 years back and go to it.
See, I would love to. I've never had this on disc. I'm not even sure if it's available on disc, but I would love to hear, Kurt Russell and Kelly McGillis in particular talk about this movie.
Could we add John Carpenter to it so they can just laugh the entire time?
That'd be awesome.
Have you listened to those commentaries?
I have not.
Oh man, so
but I have heard about the laugh track.
The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York. They call it cackling. Kurt Russell just laughs the entire time. It's beautiful. I love it. Hey, so how about this? Let's take a quick break, and we come back. We'll talk more Winter People. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And Isaac, I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
We're going to do something. We're going to do a 1989 draft. I just thought about this. So you pick 5 movies, I pick 5 movies. I'll put up on Movies, Films, and Flicks Facebook and let people vote on it. So I have a number of, like, one, I have one or two. Pick 1 or 2.
2.
All right. You get first pick of the 1989 movies. So you get to pick any 1989 movie in our draft.
Any 1989 movie. I'm going to pick Batman.
Oh, gosh. I think you just won it right there. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go Roadhouse.
Oh, I'd forgotten Roadhouse was 89. Nice.
I got IMDb open, so I'm cheating. All right, so what do you got next?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, jeez Louise. You're going to crush me here. All right, so I got to go big now. I need to come back here. All right, Roadhouse. That's my number 1 pick. I'm insane. All right, so I'm going to go with... All right, I got Roadhouse. I'll just pick Roadhouse again. You know what? I'm going to go crazy and do Tango and Cash.
Another Kurt Russell.
That's
nice.
Right. All right. Yeah. I might get 0 votes. Very possible.
I'm trying to find a list of other movies from 89.
Do you want me to read some out to you? There's some big ones.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, all right, just give me a hint. Was there a Bond movie in 89?
There was.
Okay, License to Kill.
All right, there it is. Hey, where do you rank the Bonds real fast? Rank all the Bonds for me.
The Bonds themselves?
Yeah.
Up until before Daniel Craig, my number 1 was actually Roger Moore, because he was my Bond. He was the Generation X Bond. So he's the one I was most familiar with. Then Daniel Craig came along, and he bumped him up to number 1.
Oh wow!
So
I'm a Brosnan. So yeah, I'm a Brosnan guy because that's the first Bond I saw. I'm 37.
Yeah.
So I saw Goldeneye in 95 when I was 13.
Yeah.
I'm like, Brosnan, that's it. That's my
dude.
See,
that makes perfect sense. The first Bond movie I ever saw, believe it or not, was Moonraker.
Oh wow.
And I saw it at a drive-in theater.
That's a perfect experience, right? Isn't that great?
Yes, I saw it at a drive-in theater, and I must have been, if Moonraker came out in 78, I must have been 7 years old. And so I was with my parents at a drive-in, and that was my very first Bond experience. So naturally, my Bond for most of my life was Roger Moore, because that's who introduced me to the world of Bond.
He's probably the perfect Bond to catch when you're 8 or 9 years old, too. Roger Moore.
Yes. Yeah, because he's the silly Bond.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man, I love him. All right, so my third pick, I'm going to do Say Anything. That's going to be my third pick.
All right.
That's in my top 5 or top 6 of all time, so I'm going to add that there. There's so many movies. 89 was stacked.
I still don't have my here we go. Dead Poet Society.
Oh, goodness. I'm done. If I get 1 vote, I'm lucky here. All right, let's see. I got to go big. I got to go for something really weird that'll catch people's eye and make them be like, oh, I love that movie. Or they'll be like, did he actually pick that movie? You know what? I'm going to do Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Nice.
Because,
good pick.
You know, there's some Bill and Ted lovers out there.
Yeah.
So this is your 5th pick.
Okay, so last one.
Yeah.
I'm not doing Ghostbusters 2.
No.
I'm debating between 3 here. There are 3 movies I'm looking at. I think I'm going to have to go with Back to the Future Part 2.
Oh, jeez. That's a good one. Hoverboard.
Yes. Where's my hoverboard?
Oh, I love that. All right, so I guess I got to go with... All right, I'm either thinking... All right, it's either do the right thing, or just something stupid. Oh, Christmas Vacation's in here? Wow.
Was that 89? Wow.
All right. Oh, Kiki's Delivery Service? Look who's talking. You know, I don't care. I'm doing Major League. I'm going out. I'm going out of my shield.
All right.
Wait, so this guy had Weekend at Bernie's and Winter People come out in the same year?
The same year, and you know, I'm sure Weekend at Bernie's was a much bigger box office.
Oh, that movie made bank.
Yeah.
You know that guy was in the Bernie? He was in, we have a podcast that came out called Tammy and the T-Rex, the gore cut.
Uh-huh.
He was the scientist in that movie.
Oh, really?
It's on Shudder right now. If you haven't watched Tammy and the T-Rex gore cut, do it now. The dead guy from Weekend at Bernie's is really cheeky in it. So, well, let's get to the bottom of this real quick. So we got our picks in. I just want to get to the bottom of something. That clock. How long will it take to break?
How long will it take to break? I don't see that bear lasting more than 5 years without maintenance.
Because you'd have to look how there's track and there's gears, and this is a town that we already know. North Carolina gets a decent amount of snow, so it'll get very cold.
There's gonna be temperature fluctuations. There's gonna be rain and wind and snow. So
it's gonna expand during the summer. Like who knows what that's gonna do?
My first concern when it looked like Waylon and Paula were going to have to leave was who's going to maintain the clock.
Yeah.
I guess at that point the clock wasn't even finished. So
let's make Gudger go. We need Kurt Russell here we need Waylon Jackson here well, actually, I'd get rid of Waylon Jackson because I'd hate to say that full name every time.
They should just call him Way.
Yeah. Oh, Way. Ooh. Would you like it if you had so we have Chris Kelly on the pod, but that name rolls off your tongue. If you have a buddy who's Waylon Jackson and you have to call him Waylon Jackson every time you talk to him, would you like that?
I would not like that.
No, and
I would get tongue-tied on that.
Did you think? All right, what he made was a work of art. He built track and moving gears, and he timed it. I mean, there's math in there. There's how good of a clockmaker is this guy?
He is a really good clockmaker.
I guess it's 34 that killed him, right? Because of the Depression.
The Depression, yeah. And I don't understand why he never took the time to finish the clock he hangs on Colley's wall.
Oh, yeah. Because that's interesting. And then that dude shoots at all the crap.
Yeah, and it's unfinished and hanging. And I guess, all his time had to be devoted to the tower after that.
Thanks, Waylon Jackson. I like, though, when Cole shoots it and he goes, how dare you break something you can't fix?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And he seems more upset about that than he is about this guy, busting in on Colley's home and just, invading the place because he has offspring there,
That Cole, he's not a good dude.
No, he's not.
But he does throw, Russell got tossed around. That was kind of fun to watch.
It was. And yeah, he gets really beat up in this movie. I mean, Cole nearly kills him, gives him a bloody eye. It's a bloody eyeball.
Oh yeah.
And he gets shot by Cole's dad, or not by the dad, but by one of Cole's brothers.
I just grazed him, and then he walks away, and you never hear about it again.
Right. He's like, I just wanted to come tell you this about your dead son Cole and piss you off enough to get shot, and then I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into the fur trapper's home and just diss the head of everything. And then gets shot. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get killed, right?
He is lucky. Yeah.
Wow. And I liked when we first meet the fur trappers in this scene. There's a guy delegating, put that fur over there, put that fur on there.
Yeah, and the camera just kind of follows him around as he's telling people what to do.
I don't like it in movies where I worked in film for a long time and I worked with a lot of extras. And for some reason, let's say there's a scene with you and I at a library. Normally there's a few people walking around, but there's a lot of people sitting down. There's a few people looking at books. It's pretty subdued. But if we're shooting a movie, I have 70,000 people walking around in the background, grabbing books or looking at books or going upstairs, downstairs, checking out. It's the busiest thing you'll ever see in your life. So in that fur trap, like it's like I would be exhausted. Like in the Star Wars movies, pilots are running everywhere all the time. All those pilot extras, like everyone's sprinting. So I guess it makes it look interesting in the background, but that fur trapping place was pretty exhausting. I wouldn't want to be part of that.
No, absolutely. I mean, he needed to delegate some stuff, you know.
I guess he's a good manager.
I guess.
Hey, you put those furs over there. I know they're on different sides of the stream, and they're different people, but do the Campbells know that they're kind of jerks?
That's a good question. There's a class difference between the Wrights and the Campbells that you can actually see especially once Collie goes inside the house. Mm-hmm. The Campbells are dirtier. You know, the place is not as clean and shiny as the Wrights' home, and not as bright. You know, there are fewer windows. So I don't know that I'm not sure that they realize. What was the word you used? I don't think they think they're bad people.
Yeah, I guess dirtbags. They're kind of dirtbags.
Dirtbags. Yeah, I don't think they think they're dirtbags. I think that they probably see themselves as having less advantage than the Wrights, and sort of just therefore they want to use dirtier tactics to kind of get what's owed them.
Like flipping trucks in streams. They could have just dragged that thing out of there.
Sure.
Instead they flipped it in the stream. That's going to have a lot of oil and everything in the water.
Yeah, they could poison the water.
Rust.
You know.
They didn't think that through.
No, they didn't. Absolutely not.
That's not. Oh man, these guys. They kind of that is a dirtbag move. Would you say?
It is.
If they're ever trying to stick up for themselves, like, man, you flipped a truck in a stream.
Right.
Come on now. But like that Cole, I guess Kurt Russell goes to the father. He goes to the elder Campbell, and he basically blames all of Cole's bad behavior on the father. But Cole did not have to kick the door in and force himself onto a woman. Like, he didn't do that because his dad was a jerk, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when Kurt went at him like that, I was like, I don't think you're telling the whole, like, you're telling the story, but there's ways to deal with that are healthier.
And we're not sure. I mean, he tells him that Cole didn't feel like he could tell you about his love for Collie. I'm not actually sure Cole loved Collie.
Yeah.
I think Collie was more of a possession for him.
Oh, certainly.
Than any kind of actual love, but he may not have known the difference.
Yeah, you're right.
You know?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, he was probably never raised with any sort of maybe affection, right? He was just kind of raised to be a fur trapper.
Yeah.
Didn't they say when he was 10 years old he could take a bear and snap its head off? Obviously not, but
yeah.
When he was 10 years old. Oh, that's a good point.
And it's like the only Campbell that actually seems to have any kind of sense and conscience is the head, the leader, the dad or grandpa. So he hasn't really done a very good job of raising all these other Campbells.
He's raised a bunch of feral people.
Yes. Yeah.
But I guess they're loyal to each other, so that's good.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some good there.
That was pretty interesting with Kurt Russell talking about his former wife, too, in the 30s, how she walked into the water to end the pain.
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping all over the place, but that was a gnarly story. Do you think she probably had a form of illness? I don't know the right term. Mental illness that just was undiagnosed in the 30s, and she wanted the pain to end?
I think that's absolutely what he hints at. And I think somebody, I can't remember, it's Collie or somebody asked him she was crazy, and he says no, but she was in a lot of pain. So I think there probably was some mental health issue with her, and we're just, maybe he didn't even know what it was exactly that drove her to do it, but she was obviously, it wasn't a physical disability.
Yeah.
or didn't seem to be, if she was able to walk into the sea.
That scene was pretty. That scene was kind of interesting because Kelly McGillis is like, "You don't have to tell me," and then he keeps telling her, and she's like, "No, you really don't have to tell me." And then he keeps going, and she's like, "No, like seriously, it's all good."
A lot of people force stuff on Collie.
Yeah. She's like, I'm fine, Kurt Russell. I'm fine. I don't want. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. And then when Cole comes in, Kurt Russell's like, "Make us coffee." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And another thing that gets me in these movies, you watch Lord of the Rings or any of these films, it's always like they always yell Papa, Papa, or Willow, Papa, or Pa, or I guess that's a Southern thing, but just hearing I hate hearing the word like Papa, Papa, Papa.
Papa.
Like his daughter says that a lot.
Yes.
She doesn't get much. She kind of gets tossed aside. Like you don't really see much of her later on, do you?
No, she is. She's there to, I guess, in the beginning to kind of show you, how averse to risk Kurt Russell's character is.
Yeah.
Cause, and she kind of, and Collie even says this. She's more in charge.
Yep.
Paula, the little girl, is more in charge than he is. And you even see, I love that the beginning confrontation between them about the pig.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to take the pig. Scarlet is the pig's name. He doesn't want to take the pig. The pig is her pet, and she's demanding that the pig go. And eventually, he tells her to give the pig, to someone, and she says, "Make me."
Yeah.
and you see him run at her, and you think, oh, he's going to snatch her up and put her in the truck and leave the pig behind. And he doesn't. He grabs the pig and puts the pig in the truck.
Yeah, I love that term, "make me." He's like, "Oh man." And she calls him out big. It wasn't fair. But so when they're flipping over his truck, his daughter's like, "Why didn't you do something?" It's like,
right.
Kelly McGillis tried to do something and she got pulled into the water by those jerks. So is Kurt
with a whip around her neck?
Yeah, that was another reason to dislike those people. But she's like, "Why didn't you do something, Kurt Russell?" And Kurt Russell's like, even if you and I are some of the baddest dudes around, and there's a mob of 30 people with guns, just let them flip your car.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that she said. But I think a young girl probably would ask people that. Why didn't you do anything? Or if you and I are his friends, "Oh man, why didn't you do anything?" Because we weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and she's his daughter, so I mean, in spite of her confrontation with him at the beginning of the movie, he is a hero to her and her only, protection against the world. So she probably legitimately would wonder, why didn't you try to stop him?
Yeah. I guess she hasn't seen all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess also there's a scene where Cole pushes Kelly McGillis down and he goes, "Oh, sorry." Remember that? Like,
yeah.
Like he's like,
"Don't come at me that way."
Yeah, but that's the way the actor said it. He meant it.
Yeah.
That's kind of. Do you think he just gets really drunk and goes over there and runs amok?
I think so. I think he knows that he is out of control, but he doesn't really know how to get back to it. Like there's a couple of times in that confrontation between him and Kurt Russell in the cabin where he goes off and, he shoots the clock. He throws people around. He breaks something. And then he sits back down and says, "Okay, let's talk."
I don't get you, man. And then he tricks him into running into the water, right? Doesn't he kind of? Yeah, he's like a matador.
He's. How does that happen? Because Cole
was getting snot beat out of him, and then Cole runs at him, and he kind of moves to the side, right?
Yeah, and Cole goes into the water and is shocked by the cold, and tries to come out, and Kurt Russell pushes him back in, and runs into the water himself because, as we already know, he's from Norway and he's accustomed to the cold water. So
he doesn't get that shock, so he's able to deal with these things. But his hands and feet are going to be colder longer. Just so you know that. What do you think about the snow in this movie?
Well, it made for some nice background.
Yeah. Obviously, you can't use real, when they had that fight, that wasn't real snow. But as far as fake snow goes, it looked pretty good. I watched these Christmas movies on Hallmark and Lifetime, and they just spray foam or drape cloth over plants, and it just crushes my soul because it's kind of lazy. But this one, I mean, it wasn't sticking to them or anything, but it looked like it was good fake snow.
Yeah, it didn't look like wet snow, but it I think it worked pretty well. I mean, it didn't cause me to pay attention to it, and that's how I know that, you know, an effect, which I guess is what you would call that, or setting, works for me if I didn't notice that it wasn't real.
Mm-hmm. I didn't notice until Ebert said it, so I'm guilty. He's one of the few people that wrote a review for this movie that you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dogged on it. He compared it to Witness because Kelly McGillis played an Amish widow with a kid who a guy comes out from out of town.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I guess that works.
Yeah.
I mean, it is sort of the same story, except Kurt Russell's a clockmaker and not a detective.
But this was a book first, so you can't say that it ripped off. Do you maybe it was made because of the popularity of Witness?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Witness was a tough one, though. This movie isn't. Yeah. This is more of a nice little love picture.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Any final thoughts about this movie before we... Actually, how about this? I want to do something. What's your top 5 Kurt Russell?
Top 5 Kurt Russell.
I made you rank Bond, so now I'll make you do Kurt Russell.
Yeah, so I got to put. I will say, with all the Kurt Russell episodes I've listened to of movies, films, and flicks, I have never actually in my head ranked my favorite Kurt Russell.
Oh wow.
Movies. I'd probably start with The Thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a horror fan. You know, I can't help it. I'm gonna put the Carpenter horror movie up top there. So I'd start with The Thing.
This is tough.
It is tough. There's so many.
Because he's been really good in other, like, I mean, I'm not saying like Unlawful Entry belongs up there, but he's also been in some really good movies in the 80s. I mean,
yes,
yeah, Silkwood. Swing. Oh man, Used Cars.
I have not seen Used Cars.
Oh, he's amazing in that. Yeah.
Escape from New York.
Oh,
I like Escape from New York, and I have to put Winter People in my top 5.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where in the top 5 it would rank, but I have to put it in there because it's just this is one of those movies that I've gone back to, you know, time and again, and if I happen to see it on, you know, that it's on somewhere, I sit down and watch it. Not that it's been on anywhere in the past couple of decades.
Yeah. I did not even know about this. I know it's weird. So I go through his IMDb a lot, and I know about the majority of his films. But for some reason, Winter People, I've just never. I don't know. And this didn't hurt him because he had Tango and Cash in the same year, and then he went on to Backdraft, so he was fine.
Yeah.
And then Captain Ron in '92.
And all right, and here's another thing, okay?
Yeah.
Captain Ron gets a lot of hate. I loved Captain Ron.
Oh man, it's a great VHS movie. I mean, so it came out when I was 10, and you know, you go out on a boat. That swab kid was drinking beers and fixing boats, and so when you're 10, 11 years old, watching this on VHS, and this kid's getting fake tattoos and having response, it just seemed like a cool movie for an 11, 12-year-old, at least for me.
Yeah, and it's a different role for Martin Short too. It's completely different from anything he had played up to that point. He wasn't a stupid person. He was, you know, he wasn't the comic relief. He was the straight man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was.
In Captain Ron.
He was just annoyed at Ron the entire time, and I loved it. Oh man.
Right.
But no, this was a lot of fun, and thanks for recommending this movie to me. I mean, now I got another Kurt Russell movie for my what's the word? Not inventory. Not ammunition. For my, I don't know. I can't think of the word right now. But I've watched another Kurt Russell movie.
Collection.
For my collection. That's never a bad thing. So this is great. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Find me on Twitter at Isaac R. Thorne, and that's Thorne with an E, and that is where I plug most of my stuff. My novel is called The Gordon Place. If you want to check that out, it's my latest thing, and that's me.
All right, cool. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, so for Mark Hoffmeyer and for Isaac Thorne, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.